Hi everybody, welcome to Spring Workshop 2016 in the Bay. Thank you for joining us. I think it's going to be a good workshop. The subject matter is relatively simple but very colorful, and it has a lot of the textures and the wash lessons that I like to demonstrate when we're doing these workshops. So it gives you a really good foundation when you're working through your own material when you get home. We thought this would be a really good idea because we've just seen so many issues coming in first night, especially with beginners, and they're just not too sure about how to do the preliminary steps of, you know, hanging paper, stapling, etc. So I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can and try not to let this video take off on me because I can talk forever. I'm on a half-inch plywood board, 3/8 minimum, because the staples will go right through the board. The paper is a 300-pound arch, which I like to use. If you notice from there, and I will move the camera in as I go through this, the staples are only an inch apart to the edge of the paper. The paper has been soaking for 7 minutes in the bathtub in room temperature water, and when you are taking the paper out of the tub, always hold it up by its edge like this so you're not touching the paper. You don't want your hands on it, and even throughout the whole process I have seen scars and body oils that'll end up in the paper, and you'll just go, where did that come from? And it's usually your fault because you buy the paper, in plastic, and nobody's touched it but you. So just be careful with that. So the staples are, like I said, an inch apart, nice board. This is the stapler that I use. It's an Arrow 50. You can buy them at any hardware store. Don't use a paper stapler. This is why I'm doing this, because this does the job. The staples are 3/8. They're just, they're long enough to sit into the board, and then you finish the staple to flush it up to the board so you're not catching your clothing and your hands on it with a hammer. And when you are hammering the staples, always hold the hammer away from the paper, kind of banging on an angle. So if I can kind of demonstrate this way, like that, not into, because you'll get a half moon and that'll show up in your work and that'll make your painting smaller. So be careful of that. I'm going to move this in now so you can see the amount of lead that I'm using on this, and you can get a closer look at the staples. So I'm using an HB pencil. This is the pencil. You can see how sharp it is, right? And then I finish it off with sandpaper to make sure the tip is really sharp. And if I need to, after drawing, I have this stretchy eraser that I can lift the lead up without actually taking an eraser and scoring the paper and rubbing it. I've seen that too. You don't want to be doing that too often. So that's an HB pencil, nice and sharp. And I don't know if you can get an idea how light or dark we get with an HB. A 2H is okay. They vary too. Some companies vary their lead. So I'm just kind of dabbing some of this drawing just to lighten it up a little bit, because eventually I'll be able to see that when I get painting, and I will let the paintbrushes talk to me as I paint through, and I will continue to draw with a zero brush to get some of the details that I want. So, and then to clean that, you just kind of stretch it up like that. So I'm just going to pull this back here a little bit. So the paper's sacred. You don't want to touch it, okay? And when you're said, make sure you're not using a bigger, heavy staple, and paper staples don't work. The paper will separate from the board. You'll have warpage problems. And when you start having problems at the beginning, they just multiply and it gets worse. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a helping hand to get you started. So Friday night, we're not putting out fires the first half hour of the workshop. So I look forward to working with everybody. This is a great painting. I really enjoyed doing it. And I think you're going to have fun painting it because it's got all those elements in there that we look for. Okay, so we'll see you at the end of the month, and take care. Bye-bye.